The Scotsman is back, and he's got a daughter. Actually, a lot of daughters, like dozens of daughters. He compiled an army and launched an attack on Aku's fortress, only to have the nameless troops we had no connection to annihilated in just a few seconds.
You know what? This was a bad idea!
While past portrayals of violence in this revival have been rather horrific, this instance of massacre was utilized for comic relief, which does feel a little weird given the stark atmosphere we've been having, but it's already hard to take things seriously when the Scotsman is on screen shouting his lungs off, so it still works. It doesn't particularly break the mood because the mood was already goofy due to the presence of the Scotsman. My favorite scene of this episode has got to be when Aku responds to this boisterous old man in a wheelchair.
I'm sorry, old man. I think you're lost.
Gotta love Aku being so full of himself that he doesn't comprehend that some old guy in a wheelchair with a machine gun leg would possibly be trying to stand up to him. I also loved the unamused face Aku had before he zapped the Scotsman. I laughed at this moment, but I also felt bad. It was a hilarious yet simultaneously sad death. Though apparently Celtic magic and a sword can resurrect you as a ghost, so the Scotsman lives on, also no longer aging, just like Jack.
And in my prime, no less!
It's interesting how in the past, the enchanted Celtic claymore was able to square off with Jack's sword, but it was powerless against Aku. I wonder whether the Scotsman is going to stay a ghost, or whether he'll be put into a machine body or something, so he can be Mecha Scotsman, or Robo Scotsman I guess, since he'd be piloting a robot rather than actually being a cyborg. I'm also very curious, when did all these events at the start of the episode occur chronologically? I get the impression this battle did not occur in the present time, but rather a few years or even a decade ago? If this battle did happen in the past, it means when the Scotsman reunites with Jack, he will already have an army and a plan, as opposed to those things still needing to be prepared. I'm also quite fond of the idea that the Scotsman's brutally honest taunting is what led Aku to have Jack on his mind even more, and this is what eventually caused Aku to begin having therapy sessions with himself. After that intriguing intro, we get back to Jack and Ashi. Ashi is also plagued by hallucinations just like Jack, but these are the manifestations of her indoctrination and don't feel as real as Jack's do. It feels more like a figurative depiction of what's happening in Ashi's mind. It's the urge that's been instilled in her continuing to surface. Kill the samurai, kill the samurai, kill the samurai or you're a failure. But Ashi wants answers before taking action. Jack wrangles a sea serpent so the duo can return to continental land, and the scene was really nice. Ashi has always been fascinated by the beauty of the world, and it's a joy to watch her try to take it all in. Plus, this shot in particular was just magical. And then, Jack shows Ashi the state of the world, and this is where I have a problem with the episode. Ashi's transition toward the light, if you want to phrase it that way, was just too fast and too easy. It took only 9 minutes of Jack and Ashi being on screen for Ashi to transform from someone who was ready to jump at any chance to kill Jack to this person.
What can we do?
Nothing.
What? What do you mean nothing? We have to do something!
Seriously, it was only 9 minutes of screen time if we take out the chunk of the episode with the Scotsman. If during those 9 minutes it felt like a bunch of time has progressed, that might be okay, but it wasn't a huge amount of time in-universe either. As for it being too easy, Jack shows Ashi things, and Ashi just takes it in. No questioning, and no trying to make rebuttals or rationalize. People who are indoctrinated rationalize, it's just what they do. Hell, all people try to rationalize their beliefs before discarding them, but it's especially true when those beliefs are tied to your identity. In Ashi's case, her identity literally was her beliefs, and her mind should be in defense mode trying to figure out answers to maintain her old world view, even if she doubts it. There's just not enough dialogue between her and Jack to make the whole situation feel believable. Ashi, ask why you should believe Aku killed the trees as opposed to anything else. Ashi, ask if this guy is a banished criminal because his home planet was unjust and evil. Maybe Aku's taking in refugees cast out from evil societies or something. Are you gonna assume he's the bad guy because he stereotypically looks the part? Your own outfit wasn't exactly sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Ask something, come on. Yes, Ashi is inherently a good person who loves the world, but undoing a life of indoctrination should not be this easy and simple.
You are too blinded by Aku's hate. You won't change.
Catastrophically wrong there, Jack. This episode contained way more dialogue than the average Samurai Jack episode, and yet that dialogue failed to deliver where I think it matters most, and dialogue was lacking where I think it was most needed. This is the first time in the revival I've been genuinely disappointed. Ashi's redemption arc was handled inadequately. I don't even know if I should call it a redemption arc. It was so swift and straightforward, I may as well just call it a 180. I do now have a ton of questions about the cult Ashi came from, and whether the elder women who run it believe the things they spew to the children. And if they don't believe what they taught them, which I seriously doubt they do, why did they choose this specific style of indoctrination over other potential methods? Even if I feel let down by the development in this episode, at least I'm still really eager to see Ashi face the people who raised her and demand answers from them. The rest of the episode wasn't too thrilling, at least compared to what I expect from this revival at this point. The background design and color schemes don't match up to what we've seen before, and neither does the action. I did really appreciate this bit of dialogue, though.
Turning those little brats into weapons? Pretty ingenious, right? Children are foolish little things. Easily manipulated.
This Dominator character is unknowingly describing Ashi's past and thus is mocking her. The rage Ashi feels from this is probably what allows her to gather the strength to break free. And then the warrior shrouded by green mist appears to Jack and talks for the very first time.
It is time.
His appearance was right after Jack thought the children all died, when Jack was devastated, and perhaps what he's doing is wandering off to end his own life at the end of the episode. If that is the case, this warrior does symbolize death. It's the part of Jack's mind that reminds him he has lost his honor, lost his purpose, and that he should just put an end to his miserable existence. This is a hypothesis, obviously, so I guess we'll see in the next episode whether Ashi or perhaps the Scotsman stop Jack from committing seppuku. Overall, this is my least favorite episode of the revival thus far. While Jack looks suave as hell, the episode lacked the visual oomph that all the other episodes packed. And of course, Ashi's development soured a lot of the episode for me. It was still enjoyable, but nowhere near the masterclass of the other episodes. I'm hoping this episode is the odd one out and the rest remain superb. Let me know what you thought. Do you share my opinion that Ashi's development was handled way too swiftly and easily? I'm interested to read other people's views on it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you share your thoughts in the comments.